con Mike Koons, él es VP Worldwide Engineering de Cisco, que nos va a platicar de un tema y varios temas muy interesantes aquí en el evento. Hi Mike, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, and thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to meet you, finally.
Yes.
Please tell us about your role at Cisco and what are your biggest priorities?
So my role is I have all of the systems engineers, responsibility for the systems engineers who work with our customers during the sales process in complex areas of technology like computer networking, collaboration, data center, cloud, IoT, and many others. And having the responsibility for the systems engineers and getting involved in the technology makes a week like this week at Cisco Live very important for us. Because this week at Cisco Live is all about customers and partners coming to a central location, like beautiful Cancun, to learn about what's new at Cisco, what's new in the industry, and exchanging ideas, and the systems engineers have a very big role in that. So you asked about priorities. Our priorities align to where we see the company and the market going, and if you just look at the agenda for Cisco Live, it really matches what my priorities and the priorities of the company are. We see a lot this week about how the portfolio changes and simplifies, how we start integrating new technologies like cloud technologies into our portfolio. You see cloud coming into security applications, collaboration, networking. We see software emphasis. So all of that is really showcased here at the event center in Cancun, and it is the top priority for myself and the systems engineers, both here in Latin America as well as all over the world.
We hear a lot about digitization here at Cisco Live.
Yes.
What does this concept mean and how is your team involved?
So it's a great question because we get it a lot. I have a lot of customers and we talk about digitization like everybody automatically knows what it means for them. But in some cases, people come to events like this to really learn what does it mean to be digital for me, what does it mean for my business. I've always heard the best description of digitization was actually described by McKinsey when they said that digitization is not a thing, it's a way of doing things, and it's changing your processes or your customer experience. So for us, and you see digital experience and digitization and the signage all throughout the exhibit hall, it's really about understanding those technologies and then applying it to your business, no matter what your business is. You could be in a central government, you could be working in financial services, you could be working in retail, in energy, and it always means something different, but the foundational technology tools are very similar, and those are about a digital network, about simplicity and automation, about network analytics, and then about core technologies like collaboration, are your data center technologies, and what does my data center need to look like to meet that demand? And again, that's what everybody's going to be learning about here at Cisco Live this week.
Okay. What unique and specific examples have you seen from Latin America?
Our Latin America team is a very exciting and dynamic team. So for example, internally within Cisco, we've always been known as being network infrastructure providers and the skills that you need in order to build and design world-class networks. Well, there's some skills changing in that area, and we're moving from traditional ways of building networks now to be doing it with modern tools like programmability, like automation and analytics. And what our Latin American team has done is internally within Cisco, we've done a lot of work to bring our teams up to speed. The Latin America team was the very first team in the entire world to complete the development process for all the programming skills. And that's pretty challenging given that we have hundreds of engineers here in Latin America, that they were the first to do it globally. So they're really leading the way for Cisco. The other things that I'm seeing is we had the privilege of being part of listening to a hackathon readout this morning, and the great ideas that the teams here in Latin America, and these are partners and customers and Cisco employees who are coming up with digitization and new applications for financial services, for public sector and for citizens to serve them better. So I'm seeing an awful lot of thought leadership from Latin America. It's very exciting, and they're very excited to demonstrate their capabilities.
There's also a lot of education applications too, right?
Yes, the education piece is probably one of the most important things right now. As our company talks about, our CEO, Chuck Robbins, talks about, we're in the middle of one of the biggest transitions that Cisco has experienced, and frankly, the network has experienced. We see this all the time with applications driven in your personal use that you might use on your smart device, all the way to different ways that you work within business. And with that transition comes that learning and development that needs to happen. And again, it's what a week like this is all about. It's really about coming here, not only learning from Cisco, learning from our technology partners, learning from each other about all the trends that are happening. It's very exciting.
As you said, we're going to be here for a week, so what should attendants expect at this event?
I think they should expect, if they've been here before, I think they're going to see new things that they've never seen from Cisco and from the industry before. I think they'll see a greater emphasis even greater emphasis on security than they have in the past, and there's been a lot of emphasis on that. They're going to see the evolution of services from contained private applications to public and SaaS offerings that they haven't seen before. So if I were an attendee, I'd be looking at the security offerings. I'd be learning at what is coming from the cloud. Is your collaboration services, are your data center and IoT applications coming from the cloud? And lastly, there is a program here at Cisco Live called DevNet Zone. I would encourage everybody to stop into DevNet Zone. That's where you're going to see the new programming skills come in and see how it applies to the network. This is our second year with DevNet Zone here at Cisco Live in Latin America. It continues to become more and more popular, and it's a great place to learn new skills and take them back to the organization that you represent.
Right now we're living in an era where IoT is a very important subject.
Yes.
So what is your vision about this concept?
So IoT is a very important subject because we're moving from a world of connected people to connected everything. Everything will be connected, and IoT is going to play a huge role in that. And there's the traditional ways that we think about it with sensors and connecting devices that are not connected to people. Cisco is going to play a huge role in this, and number one, that as you scale from connecting millions and hundreds of millions of devices to billions of devices in Latin America alone, there's a lot of scale and changes that happen there. There are security ramifications that we're going to have to understand, and building security solutions into IoT offerings. And then lastly, how do you deal with all of the data that comes from the Internet of Things, and how do you know what is valuable and what is not? So applications like data analytics becomes very, very important in this. You'll see a lot of examples of this all throughout the show this week, and you're going to see Cisco involved in an awful lot of it.
And also about security, can you tell us a little more about this subject? Because as you said, it's very important, and we live in this era where security is the most, I think, important topic of the time.
It's funny that you put it that way, because our CEO has said that security is our number one priority. And I think if you look at what's happening from a market perspective, every day you pick up a paper and you see something going on in the world of security, whether it was a breach or whether it was just information going on about people concerned. We're seeing security become a concern of CEOs. It is no longer just the concern of the technologists and the CIOs. So when it comes to what you're going to see in security and what you're going to see from Cisco, you're going to see continued breadth of portfolio. You're going to see security not only as a discipline itself, but being built into everything you see and touch when it comes to technology. You brought up the IoT piece. You're going to see security embedded there. You're going to see security as a piece of the network itself, actively living on the network and not just as an afterthought. So the security aspect of things is going to be huge, and there's probably about at least 10 areas of security people can learn from just this week through the sessions.
Well, Mike, thank you very much for your time. Something that you want to share with us?
I would just say that, like myself, I hope that everybody enjoys the week here. This is my 5th time at Cisco Live in Latin America. Every year I get more and more excited to being here. The energy this week is great, and I hope everybody has a fantastic week, and thank you for having me.